We all want to be better at what we do. A great project manager can work magic on even the most complicated projects, but it takes practice, trial and error, and helpful advice from people who've been there and done that. In this video, digital project management consultant, writer, and speaker Brett Harned will give you 10 tips to be a better project manager. Brett is a digital project management consultant who focuses on solving issues that are important to organizations who want to produce quality digital projects in harmony.
PMs seem to get a bad reputation, and it's not always our fault. So these tips should help you get around these issues and make you a great PM. So let's get started. Number one is to ask questions. The first questions I ask are, what's the deadline, what's the budget, and what's the scope? There are so many variations on those answers you can get from different people. To make sure that you get them from the right people is really important. My questions don't end there. It's also about what a client can tell me. So I want to ask a client a lot of questions about how this project could go down in their organization, or how they've gone down in the past, and how we might be able to do better this time around. The more I dig in, the more I can find out about how the project's going to work, and I can help my team to craft a process that will work for the clients and for our team. Along those lines, you have to remember that you can ask a lot of questions, but maybe you shouldn't answer them. So you're not Superman. You're not the person who's always going to have the answer to every question that a client asks you. So if you're on a call by yourself with a client and they ask you a question about design or code or something that's really not within your area of expertise, feel free to tell them, I'll have to get back to you on that. They should never expect the project manager to be the person who has the answers for everything. They should expect you to be the person who can reach out and get them answers quickly. The second is learn from your mistakes. So we can do a lot of projects in many different ways, and we can hit bumps in the road. Every project has bumps in the road. It's hard to accept the issues while you're in the moment, but it's important to go back and figure out how you can maybe not make those things issues in the future. One of the best ways to do that is to conduct a postmortem meeting. It's a practice that will definitely help you get better, not only as being a project manager, but get better as a team working together. So this is how I would conduct a postmortem meeting. First, set up a quick session where your team gets together for about 15 minutes. Get into a conference room and write on a whiteboard what worked and what didn't work. Take about 15 minutes, go around the room, and have everyone give their own responses. All you're going to do is answer those questions. You're not going to get into any kind of discussion. The idea is to put the issues on the table. Also the wins. You want to celebrate the wins. So after that, you'll go back, take those notes, and create a discussion guide about the project. So first, when you get into the larger meeting, you can talk about the things that were good and talk about those things. Talk about why they were good. And then you can sort of summarize all of the issues and talk about those as well. In this longer meeting, you're probably going to take about 90 minutes. The full team should be there. You want to make sure that there's somebody there capturing notes. If you're the PM who is actually on the project, you want to make sure that you are a part of the discussion. You don't need to be the person taking the notes in that meeting. And then you'll just go around and talk about the issues and the good things. Before you start anything, you'll want to start with some ground rules. Make sure that there's no finger pointing. People need to understand that the point of a postmortem meeting is to be positive so that you can have some good outcomes that'll help you get better in the future. It's not about calling people out on who did what and when and who created any issues. That's never going to be productive for anyone. The most important thing you want to do is call out action items. So as you're discussing items, make sure that you're mentioning things that you can do in the future to make things better, ways that you can tweak your process internally, ways that you can communicate better with clients and things like that. Conducting a great postmortem meeting will make you a better team and a better PM. Number 3 is set expectations. This one seems obvious, and it seems kind of scary because it's a really big deal. But typically you have the documentation to back you up, and saying it out loud makes it feel a little more official. So what are the obvious things? I'm going to talk through the things that are obvious but can be easily made clear to teams, clients, or partners. The first is to understand your scope, and every project needs a scope. You shouldn't start your project without one. It can feel a little squishy at times when you're dealing with a scope that isn't in writing. So make sure that you have something in writing. Typically, it would be a contract. What you need to know are the limitations of your scope, whether it's in hours, in dates, or a timeline, or requirements. You can sort that out. The best way to make sure everyone is understanding the scope is to sit down with them. So first you'll want to sit down with your team prior to starting the project and talk about what's in the scope. And you can start to talk about how you'll execute on that scope, but make sure that everyone understands sort of what the perimeters are of it. The other people that you want to sit down with is your client team, whether that's an internal client or an external client. You want to sit down and make sure that they understand what's in the scope. I wouldn't read that scope document with them line by line, but I would make sure that they understand sort of what's included. A really quick story, I had a meeting with a client where they asked for something that was out of scope, and I had to tell them that it wasn't. And they came back to me and said, I wanted to see the document. And I said, well, you have the document, but here it is. They looked at it, and it wasn't the final document that they expected to see. It was a document that somebody else in their organization signed off on. And I've seen that happen a couple of times where the client I'm working with isn't the person who signed off on the scope. So sitting down with them and making sure that they understand what's in the scope prior to starting is really important, because then you clear out any issues in advance.
TeamGantt is web-based project scheduling made simple and beautiful. And because it's cloud-based, there's no software to install and your data is automatically backed up. You can draw each step of your plan on a timeline so everyone on your team can see which tasks are assigned to them and when they need to be completed. And TeamGantt is built to be collaborative, so you can have conversations with your team, upload project-related files, and see the entire task history all in one place. You can even see how busy your team is so you can manage their time better. Go to teamgantt.com/signup to create your free account today.
Make sure you lock down your timeline. As soon as it's complete and approved, lock it in and make sure everyone understands it. It's going to change, timelines always do, but you're only going to want to budge on that timeline when you have to, and you want to make sure everybody understands the ramifications in advance. Establish roles. So as a team, it's important to understand who's going to do what and when. So you could work on a team with 10 people that is creating a website. I could work on a team with 4 people that's creating the same website. All of those people could be doing different things at different times. It's important for you to understand who is taking on the role that is creating a deliverable, who is approving the deliverable, all of those things. Really important to sit down and make sure you understand that. So at the beginning of a project, sit down with your team and make sure that everybody understands what they want to do, or not what they want to do, but what they're going to do. I find it really helpful to use a RACI matrix to understand who's responsible, accountable, consulted, or informed on a project. That can kind of get all of those questions out of the way very early on. Okay, so that sums that one up. Up next is be a cheerleader. Meeting deadlines can be tough, and we don't feel the real pressure of meeting those deadlines as PMs, so it's really important for you as a PM to have the empathy to know that your team is under pressure a lot. Sure, you might be under pressure for meeting those deadlines as well, but you're not the one who's actually creating things. Maybe you're creating a project plan in the beginning of the project, maybe you're helping with requirements, but you don't necessarily open yourself up the way a designer or a developer would. So be that person who says you're doing a great job. Help them along. Don't just check in, but make them feel good about the work that they're doing. Other ways that you can be a good cheerleader, things like giving shout outs in meetings in front of the team, telling your clients how proud you are of your team, sending messages to supervisors, tweeting about people, writing about them, or maybe formalizing a process that actually makes people feel good about the work that they're doing. Up next is knowing your craft. So I came into PM sort of on a sideways route. I was an English and Fine Arts major in college, and I was a copywriter right out of college. I kind of managed projects throughout my career and kind of fell into it, and it was the good place for me. But along the way, I had to learn kind of what project management meant, and that meant that I spent a lot of time on my own outside of the job understanding what it meant to be a project manager. So here are some tips for you to understand your craft. First is to know and understand methodologies, whether it's agile, waterfall, whatever it be. It's important that you actually take the time to understand what the methodology is and what the rules of it are. You can take those practices and some of the things that happen within those methodologies and apply them to the projects that you're in, or you can adopt them full bore and sort of run an agile project. No matter what you do, it's important to know that the process that you run is a process that has to work for everyone. Next is to learn company procedures. Onboarding to a new job as a PM can take a good 6 to 9 months because we all do things differently. So make sure when you're in that onboarding stage, you're asking all of the questions that you kind of need to know answers to as you're getting involved with clients and with your team. That can be everything from how projects are estimated to how work is presented or how you interact with clients, how people like to communicate. All of those things are really important sort of aspects of being a project manager and being a really good project manager. Next is practicing the right tools. So there are about 5,000 tools for one job. I know that as a project manager. And we all know that there's no one single tool that everyone uses. So it's important that when you get into a new tool, you actually take the time to understand how it can complement your practice as a PM. So take tutorials, classes, and test projects or tools with your projects as you're kind of progressing through them. Make time to learn the tool and sort of figure out the hacks that you need to use within those tools that are kind of going to help you and your team. Next is hone your people skills. I fully believe that you can't be a good PM without people skills. If you get your team and clients to actually like and respect you, you've won half the battle. You have to have empathy for your team and your clients and understand that the way that they work doesn't necessarily have to be the way that you want them to work. You have to complement them and you have to help them. So remember, you have limited visibility into sort of what's happening within people's lives, what the pressure is that they feel about their work, but you can help them. You can be the person that comes up and says, hey, how can I help you out today? Or is there anything that you're having trouble with that I can sort of help with? Those kinds of things are going to help your projects move along faster and more smoothly and be a lot more comfortable. Okay, up next is don't ignore difficult conversations. So everyone knows that nobody really wants to have a difficult conversation. Nobody wants to be put in an awkward position where you have to tell someone that they're doing something wrong. So the PM, unfortunately, is the person who does have to do that. Really quick story. I was in a job where I was working with a coworker who was negative a lot and was really affecting the morale of the team. So I had to pull her aside one day and say, hey, listen, your attitude is actually affecting the team and I think it's affecting the work product. Is anything going on? What can I do to kind of help make that better? And the response that I got from that was actually really good because I had honed my people skills and I had, approached her with a bit of empathy and she came back and said, I do recognize that this is kind of like not going the best way and we kind of worked out ways that we could sort of sort out some of the issues. And she approached that I kind of had the guts to go to her and have that conversation. And it built a little trust because I think she understood that I kind of had her back with clients. It wasn't an easy conversation to have, and I was definitely not excited to go into that conversation, but what I did in advance was kind of prepare myself for all of the scenarios that could happen. And I think that's the best way to approach a difficult conversation. Know that nobody wants to talk about negative or scary things like money or missing deadlines or bad attitudes, but you're the person who can help them fix it. And if you approach the situation with a little bit of empathy and understanding of how other people might feel about the conversation, you'll go in and get much better results.
At Team Gantt, we want to teach and empower project managers of all types. From the seasoned PM vet who's managed every kind of team and project under the sun, to the rookie who didn't even realize they were a project manager until last Tuesday. No matter how much experience you have, you can always learn. That's why we've put together free guides to project management and project planning, as well as Excel Gantt chart templates. Go to teamgantt.com/resources to download your free guides and templates today.
Number 7 is take good notes. This is an obvious one, but there are a lot of meetings where people don't take notes at all. And notes should serve as a record for what has happened in a meeting or in any kind of conversation. It's important to document those things. The best thing that you can do is create a notes document and put it in a place where it can be editable. Once you share it with everyone who's involved, tell them that these are your notes and feel free to leave comments or make updates because you're only human and you may have missed some issues or some items that have been discussed. So I was on a project, early in the project, we had a meeting where the clients told us that IE6 was not a requirement. Fast forward to the end of the project where we're in QA, the client comes back and says there are a ton of problems in IE6. There are a lot of bugs. So I sent them the notes document where we had documented when they said that IE6 was not going to be a part of the project. And they said, oh, okay. And at that point, IE6 was dead to everyone and we didn't have to worry about it. So that was a point where notes came in really, really helpful to us. So let's move on to some quick note-taking tips. These are some things that I think are really helpful when I'm taking notes, and I thought that I would share them with you. So stick to keywords and phrases. Write notes in your own words. Things don't have to be sort of recorded and verbatim. You'll be wasting way too much time trying to understand what people are saying if you're trying to key in every word that they say. You want to record key points, decisions, and action items. Sometimes I'll go back through my notes and make sure that I'm calling out things that are actually action items or key points or decisions. And the next thing is to use the right tools that are right for you. Whether it be just a Word document or your favorite tool. You have to use what's comfortable because if you're trying to force your process into something that's not working for you, you're not going to take great notes. And then you want to make your notes editable and share them with your team. Next is stay informed. As PMs, we don't have a lot to go to. There aren't too many resources, but those are growing, and Team Gantt is one of the companies that's helping with that. So make sure that you're well read. Keep up with what's happening, not only within project management, but within your industry, and that's going to help you to be a better project manager. Number 9 is to keep calm, because PM is a very stressful job at points. You have the weight of the details, the people, the deadlines, the money, all of that stuff on your shoulders, but you can't let it freak you out. So I have some tips here to help you stay calm. First is to take the time that you need. Project-related issues typically feel urgent, but you need the time to sort of think them through and make sure that you're responding in an appropriate way. So if a client comes to you with a request, and that request isn't something that you feel comfortable responding to right away, make sure that you're asking other people how they think you should respond. Don't feel like you have to respond within 10 minutes. Take the time that you need to actually formulate a response that is going to be good not only now in the moment, but weeks from now as well. Next is don't take things so personally. Business is business. You're a project manager, you're dealing with all of the details of the business. This isn't about your personal emotions. It's so easy as the PM to kind of take criticism or take something to heart on the project that you feel responsible for. But that's not how it is, and that's not how people view you. I've learned my lesson quite a few times, sort of putting too much of my personal emotions in a project to sort of know when to separate those things. Next is it's okay to, messed up that slide, it's okay to make mistakes. See what we did there? If you think about it this way, if you handle yourself well with mistakes, people will likely remember the outcome and how you recovered from that mistake rather than the mistake itself. So remember, no one's perfect, you're not perfect, and you're going to make mistakes. If you're just honest about how you handle them and you actually handle them with a little bit of pride, things will definitely turn out a lot better for you. Next is keep perspective. Chances are you'll work with someone who thinks that every issue is the most giant issue in the world and that it's going to be sort of ending the project. But if you keep those issues into perspective and you kind of bring things down and you're the calm person who tells people that you're going to solve the issue, things will be so much easier to handle. The last point is to be proud of your role. This is the last point, but it's definitely the most important because what you do is important. You're the glue, you steer the ship, and you should be proud and own that. So our profession needs people like you out there to be writing and speaking about project management and sharing your ideas. If you're the person who has ideas, Definitely start your own blog, read more, tweet more, do as much as you can to boost the project management community up. So that's all I have today. I want you to carry on and be great. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.